be the people. The church without the steeple, we don't worship dead in altars. Never throwing the towel, God of Israel in our corners. Smashing the devil with a hammer, Bible is our power.
I'm having dreams like now, nightmares like wow. Gun went plow, bullet missed me like how.
Israelites the match, Christ is the fire. The King of Israel ain't nobody higher than the God I serve. You deserve to observe the laws written for your cause. Your faith needs work hard, the saints applaud. Some born poor, some born very lucky, but I'm born blessed with riches, I'm very happy.
I'm blessed, if you don't believe that I'm blessed, take a look at me and see I'm blessed. I praise the Most High, I serve till I die, no word of a lie. I'm blessed, if you don't believe that I'm blessed, take a look at me and see I'm blessed. I praise the Most High, I serve till I die, no word of a lie. I'm blessed. Look at me, what don't you see? It's not that I don't have the finer things, it's vanity. I'd rather be enriched with much more than diamond rings, 'cause I know that in the end I can take it with me. I don't even know what's new in the store next door. I just open up my eyes and I'm thankful for the truth you gave me. Keys to eternity. I'm blessed. If you don't believe that I'm blessed, see I'm blessed. I praise the Most High, I serve till I die, no word of a lie. I'm blessed. If you don't believe that I'm blessed, take a look at me and see I'm blessed. I praise the Most High, I serve till I die, no word of a lie. I'm blessed. If you don't believe that I'm blessed, take a look at me and see I'm blessed. I praise the Most High, I serve till I die, no word of a lie.
So, good afternoon, and let me take this opportunity to welcome all of our first-time viewers. If you've somehow found yourself here with us on YouTube at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, count yourself blessed, and let me say welcome. Let me also take this opportunity to welcome all those who are reoccurring visitors who have visited us every week. Thank you for your patronage. And again, as you know, the best seat in the house. Welcome. And to my brethren, those who are waiting patiently in the wings for the day that we can get back together in our respective branches and locations across the world, embrace, sing, eat, praise, do all the things we do well. Let me say this. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord my God, are the wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to us word, they cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine eyes, my ears hast thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips, O Lord. Thou knowest. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and truth continually preserve me. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. Mine iniquities have taken hold upon me, and that I am not able to look up. They are more than the hairs of mine head, therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul, to destroy it. Let them be driven backward and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate for reward of their shame, that say unto me, Aha, aha. Let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continually, The Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my deliverer. Make no tarrying, my God. Selah and Selah. Amen. So let me begin with a choose your own adventure. One day, the kids, and I'm going to assume you have a family of, let's make it 4 kids. Let's say you have a wife, maybe 2, whatever you want. And you're the husband. Kids say, Pops, let's go for dinner. And you as Pops or you as Mom say, let's go. So you bathe the children. You ready them with a suit, clothing, tie, because this is a upper class meal. We shine the shoes, we press the shirts, and we start the car. We get in the car and we drive, and we take the scenic route. This dinner is expensive. You get in because you've made reservations. There's no lineup. You walk in, you take a seat. The waiter named Garçon pulls up to the table and says, here's your menus. What would you like to order? Everybody excitingly goes through the menus and looks through the ingredients and says, yes, I want this, I want that. You order. Waiter comes back with the platter, eloquently says, you were served. Rest plates and bowls and cutlery and food. Everybody pulls up the sleeves, puts the napkins in there and gets ready. Garçon says, hold up. Before you eat, I just want to let you know there was a bit of a contamination. And most of what you're eating has some poison that will kill you. It will kill you. You will die. But we'll discount it 50%. Carry on. So let's choose your own adventure. You're not here. I can't see you. But I think I would know the answer. A, does Mom and Pop say, children, dine, eat, fill yourself, and die? B, A was on the left hand, that's about right. So on the right hand will be B. Let's not eat, because you're going to die. Silly question, is it not? Because for the most part, no one's going to eat to die. Nobody's going to eat anything to kill himself. Nobody's going to knowingly poison themselves, right? Wrong. Question for you. Are you poisoning your soul? Weird question. For you would need to know, I guess, what is a soul. We'll move that to the right, and you could figure that out later. But are you poisoning your soul? Are you doing the things that are detriment to your soul? I believe that the soul is one of the most important things for you because, as it says, right, you shall be judged, you. That soul shall be judged. And you would like to remain in salvation and perhaps live forever. I do. I would like that. But there are things that you do that prevents that or inhibits that. Or for the theme of where we're going today, it actually poisons your soul. It does. Interestingly enough, many people, all people, especially mine, they sit at that table and they are okay with sipping on the poisons. If you have a glass of water and you get arsenic and you drop a tip, deep, and it bounces into the glass, tease. And even if it has, I don't know if arsenic has color, it may be transparent, it dissolves or just mingles into the water. And you sip it, you're dead. Even a touch. What you want is a pure glass of water, so you live. Join me. Let's go. Actually, before we go, let me set the stage. So, 167, 68 BCE, you know what happened? The Syrian king Antiochus IV came into Jerusalem with the army, the military, and slew and slayed thousands, many thousands of Israelites. Ended up, made a way towards the temple, the holy temple, the temple where we raise our prayers and raise our sacrifice, where the priests were tending unto or bearing our iniquities by offering these sacrifices so that our sins would not lay upon our head, so that God would not, destroy us for our sin. Temple is very valuable to us. Nonetheless, Antiochus went into the temple, fire and burn down all the walls, take up all the vessels, the gold vessels, the tools, the utensils, up and out. Went over to the altar where they sacrificed for our sins, and he went and he said, one of his men, quick, fetch me one of the fattest pigs. Get me one of the biggest pigs. Took the pig, put it on our altar, sliced the neck of the pig, and let the blood pour out upon our altar. Smart people. Why do you think he said, get me a pig? Or as the Bible would term it, the swine. Why the swine? Why specifically did he say, go and get me a swine? Follow me now to Deuteronomy 14. And we'll start off the first verse. Ye are the children of the Lord, your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. You know, I want to keep going past this part, but I can't. It's pulling me in to say something, so let me say something. As you said it, make no baldness. For what? The dead. Make no baldness. Bald not your head. Shave not for the dead. Why? Because that's what the Canaanites did. Those of the other nations, when there was a dead, when they're mourning, when they're invoking the dead, when they're doing the rituals, they shave their head for their ceremonies of the dead. So, hey, you, Israel, you do not shave your head or put baldness between your eyes, as it says, for the dead. Another topic, let's keep going. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, verse 2. And the Lord had chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth. That's another key point to take a look at. I'll let you look at that yourself. But you are a peculiar people unto himself. God is saying this. You are a peculiar people, you, the children of Israel, unto himself, above all other nations. Not a self-declaration, but one imposed upon us by the Creator of heaven and earth, which we call the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, instructed to us by Moses. Verse 3, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which you shall eat: the ox, the sheep, the goat, the hart, the roebuck, the fallow deer, the wild goat, the pygarg, the wild ox, the chameau, and every beast that parteth the hoof and cleaveth the cleft in two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts that you shall eat. So a quick description. It chews the cud, meaning it goes and it eats the grass and it chews it, swallows it. Later on, it does its thing and it brings it back up and chews on it. That which it brings back up is called cud. And it chews it, brings it back down, does its digestive thing. And within the hoofs, it must have a split. Not a claw, like a bear. If you're eating a soup and it has a paw, and the paw rolls up out of the soup like that, and when you pick it up, it may scratch you in your face. That you can't eat because it's not a hoof and it doesn't have a split. Amongst other things. Join me in Leviticus 27 so I could kind of slide into this point. Leviticus 27, verse 9. And if the beasts whereof men bring an offering unto the Lord, all that any man giveth of such unto the Lord shall be holy. He shall not alter it, nor change it, a good for bad, or a bad for good. And if he shall at all change beast for beast, then it and the exchange thereof shall be holy. Verse 11. And if it be any unclean beast, of which they do not offer sacrifice unto the Lord, then he shall present the beast before the priest, and the priest shall value it, whether it's good or bad. So, what is it saying? A man is going to bring an offering, whether it be tithe, and tithes is not only money at the time, it's what your income is. You're a farmer, you may have fruits and vegetables. You may have animals. You may have vessels. Whatever it is that you bring, if you bring an animal and that animal is unclean, we can't offer it to the Lord. We can't offer that animal to the Lord. So it says what to do with that animal. Why did Antiochus have his men take a pig and splash the blood upon our altar? I'll have you think. 1, 2, 3. 1, because it was an insult. Of course. You insult us by taking a swine. 2, they also offered pigs to their god Zeus. That's something they did. 3, since they're dominating this people Israel, and this temple and this altar is their stronghold, let's make sure that we kill it. Let's make sure we disassociate any power from it. Let's make sure that we remove any possibility of something coming to help them. For we have heard the stories in times past of how their God has helped them, and we can't fight that. So let's make sure we kill it. So it's soaking it with the blood of pigs. God can't dwell there. The Spirit of God would not dwell there. Did not. So, if the strangers knew that if we want to battle these people and we want to kill their spirituality, let's defile it with the blood of animals that is unclean to them. So I wonder what would happen if you were to eat a pig. That is why we read the scriptures where it says, it is an abominable thing. You cannot eat it. It is unclean to you. To those who are servants of God, to those who are interested in serving this God of the Bible, to those who wish to be obedient, to those that have a soul, and you regard your soul, and you want the health of your soul. One way you poison your soul is by consuming the flesh of unclean animals. Anybody want to say anything different about what they saw in scriptures about the Gentiles and what they had to eat and who did eat and what and this and that? Be my guest. You do as you will. I'm speaking to those of you who regard your soul. Those that want a pure soul, as pure as possible. If you eat unclean meats, you will be poisoning your soul. Don't take it from me. We just read it. Can I take this opportunity to say what you're hearing today, and each day that we broadcast, it's something different. It may be something that is not palatable to some of you. Some of you may be coming with a different doctrine from the fabrics of another course. Hey, everybody can do as they will. What you're hearing here is that of the Israelite nation, taught by our elder Shadrach, applied by all of our brethren, certified by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are not affiliated with any other organization bearing the name of Israelite in any form or fashion. We are the Israelite nation, Worldwide Ministries. We stand alone. We are alone. And if you wish to join us, listen up. Also, as Elder Michael would say, take this moment. Take this moment. Like, share, comment. If you feel that you want to donate something, be our guest. We certainly accept it. It helps us in returning what we do to you. But I want to go a step further today. Elder Michael said, smash the internet. Today I say, headbutt your computer. Headbutt your computer. Kick your keyboard. So let's go on with things that poison your soul. One thing people of the earth do, and my people particularly, the shortcut. We want to find a shortcut to salvation. We want to find a shortcut for not doing the work but receiving the benefits. We want to go around. Is there a way that we could shortcut the hand of God? Can we bend some things, some rules, so that we can have the benefits without doing all that stuff all that stuff, right? Money is an interesting thing, very interesting. And for some reason out there, money has seeped into how the shrines of today operate, how money has seeped into how you worship. It has seeped into people's faith. Not found in the Bible, but it's something that people do to try to circumvent what needs to be done so that they can create a shortcut to somehow get some sort of benefit of God. And that is certainly not biblical. But let me not say it. Let us read it. If you would join me in Mark 11, I'd appreciate that. Join me in Mark 11, and we'll start at verse 11. And Jesus entered into Jerusalem and into the temple. And when he had looked round about upon all things, and now the eventide was come, he went out unto Bethany with the 12. So I love this scene, for he went to the temple twice. The first time he went into the temple, as we just read, he walks in and he looked around. It doesn't say any thoughts of his, any reactions, but it says he looked around and he left come the evening. Verse 12. Before verse 12, what do you think you see in a temple? Such a silly question, isn't it? What do you see in a temple? What do you see in a place of worship? Right? You see people worshiping, I think. No? You see instruments of worship. You should hear singing, maybe. In terms of our God, you should hear sacrifices, animals, bleating of sheep, right? You should hear that. You should hear Hosanna. You should be hearing a lot of "Hear, O Israels." Oh, peace, brethren. You should be hearing all of these type of things. Verse 12. And on the morrow, when they were come from Bethany, he, Jesus, was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off, having leaves, he came, if haply he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of the figs was not yet. And I love this, because his reaction to what he saw at the temple, he displays it right here. He's hungry, and he sees the fig tree. Let me grab a fig to eat because I'm hungry, they're figs. But he looks and there's nothing to harvest. There's nothing to eat. Similar to what he saw when he was in the temple. He went in, and what he expected was not there. There was a temple, however. There were people operating, there were things happening, but what he expected was not there. The tree he went to eat and was not there, anything to eat. And Jesus answered and said unto it, no man eat fruit of, And Jesus answered and said, no man eat fruit of thee after forever. And his disciples heard it. And they came to Jerusalem, and Jesus went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and would not suffer that any man should carry any vessel through the temple. And he taught, saying unto them, is it not written, my house shall be called of all nations the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves? So as he went to eat from the tree, and the tree offered nothing to eat, so when he walked into the temple of God, at that time they defiled it. There was nothing to eat. And he said, this tree, no man should eat of this tree ever again, from henceforth. Don't eat of it. Almost as if he's speaking to the ways of the temple. Then he went to the temple, and as I like to say, he took off his belt and said, what time did I tell you to come home last night? And started flogging and turning over tables, and said nobody should carry any vessels. Just imagine what he saw. People walking around carrying vessels for sale in the temple. People who have sinned, vicious and vile sins. What are they doing? They're going and they're purchasing animals. You have markets, you have like flea markets attached to the temple. It's a flea market. So on this side, there's aisles of people selling wares. On this side, you have people selling animals. 2 for 1. Come and get your 2 for 1 turtle doves. 2 for 1 turtle doves. Have you sinned? We'll buy one today for your sin and keep the other at half price for your sin later. That is what was occurring. Why? What is at the root of that? It doesn't say, but I could imagine the very Levites, the priest, who were there and you're supposed to drop the animal off to them and they sacrifice it for your sin. I could see those guys are also part owners of the guys in the flea market. Right? They part own the guy that's selling the goats. Part owner. So it's a double. He gets to do the sacrifice. He takes from the sacrifice as the law says to do, and he makes some shekels on the side of it. And the high priest allowed them to set up the camp and put a banner up saying Jerusalem flea market with a big flea, picture of a flea on it. In Timothy, 1 Timothy, it says, the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. It's not money that is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. My people take their money, they go to their places of worship. The man on a stage similar to where I am right now, they stand up and they request for money. They've done it so long that it's become second nature to everybody, as if it's something to do. Heck, I've grown up watching that. And if I did not know better, I would think that that is an ordinance. That you get the KFC bucket, and you run up and down, and you play a special song while you run up and down, and you take your shekels and your pennies, and you put them into the bucket, and he comes back around and has the audacity to say you need more. Some people have said, today is a special day, I need you to pay a specific amount, and I am thinking maybe $1,000 each. But my people take their hand into their pocket and put it in an envelope and lick the envelope and place it in there. And two things happen. You feel, my people who put it in the envelope, feel that they have now purchased God, purchased God's liking or his favor, and have put themselves on some sort of right track. The man who counts the money now doesn't think of it that way. He actually purchases a private jet. While evictions are happening because of COVID-19 and people can't pay their rent, my people somehow e-transfer money to these wicked men and women so that they would continue to buy jets and water skis and summer homes and winter homes in the Aspens. And worse than that, the same man that asked you for the money, it is he who is giving you poisons. Like he's taking poison, he's going like this. Poison and poison And you're giving him money so that he can go and buy more poison. And buy more poison. And buy more poison. Numbers 18, please. Join me there. Numbers 18. And if you haven't noticed, what I've tried to do is, I took a page from the professor. What I've tried to do is I went to the New Testament. I got a scripture there, and then I tried to confirm it in the Old, because as it's termed Old and New, to say that one is better than the other, and some say it's erased, you would see that I can go in Matthew and then jump to Numbers. Why? Because it's just one story. It's confirmed. It's not new and old. It's just one. But Numbers 18, we'll go to verse 21. Let me take a sip first. If you're just joining us now, we are talking about the different ways. We asked the question, are you poisoning your soul? And I gave a little parable, sort of, at the beginning. But now we're going into the way you do poison your soul. This is how you poison your soul. Numbers 18, verses 21, we start. And it reads, "And behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth in Israel for an inheritance, for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle, of the congregation. Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout their generations, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance." And before I read 24, you see the concept of tithing, the concept of let me use today's language, giving your income to the church. The concept comes from here. And if one does not understand the rules surrounding the concept, then that's where you end up today, where you have many people taking their money, their hard-earned money, and giving to a man who is going to take that money and buy a vial so he can inject you with poison. So you're paying for your suicide, which is amazing. You see, the God of Israel has 12 tribes. And as he said it, one of those tribes, which is the tribe of Levi, this is his people. Remember the people we spoke about, talking about, you are a peculiar people unto me, above all other nations. Those people, 12 tribes, made up of 12, 1 to 12. One of them was taken and given the duty of the tabernacle, the duty of bearing the iniquity of the other 11 tribes. So everybody else, the other 11 tribes, they do what they do day to day, following the law and doing what's required of them. The Levites and Aaron's sons out of the tribe of Levi, they tend unto the tabernacle. They take the sacrifices and sacrifice on your behalf. They probably don't have the time to have a job. They probably don't have the flexibility to earn like the other 11 tribes. So what does God say? Because this is upon their shoulders, their inheritance is me. The other 11 tribes, they've inherited land. They've been sectioned off into this piece of Israel. This tribe gets that piece. That tribe gets this piece. The tribe of Judah, out of them comes the kings. Levi, you have this work and this burden to do. So what's going to happen is a tenth of the income, the earnings of the other 11 tribes, they will bring here It will be stored up, and that tenth will be for you because you don't have the inheritance they have. You have me as your inheritance. This is what they give to me, a tenth. This is for you. So if you bring in money, because that's what you have, and this time, a tenth of your earnings, you would leave as your tithe. Verse 24. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heave offering unto the Lord, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. And I just told you why. Why? Because their inheritance is the God of Israel. So that leaves me with a question. So I'm seeing in the book from whence you hear the word tithes. You also see what the meaning of tithes are, what the rules and regulations around them, and the why. And more importantly, the who. Who gives it? Who receives it? And how much? You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. So when one of another nation opens up some form of philosophy-based church, I'm going to use that for communication purposes. When we say church, we know it to be a shrine, but just for communication purposes, for those of our first-time viewers, I'm going to say church. Because internally, we know that church, the only church, is the Israelite nation. It's right here. But I'll use it, because when you walk down the street, you see all sorts of different iglesias and church. So when one of another nation opens up something, comes up and says, touch the screen with me, touch the screen with me. Touch the screen. Oh, yes, 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 I feel it. I feel it. Yeah, there's one of you have stumped your toe this morning on the step. Yes. Yes, yes. The Lord has said that was a warning shot, and what you must do is send $1,000 in. If you're unable to see how that is a farce, if you're unable to see the origin, where that comes from is from deceit. If you can't see that the request for money is for nothing else but to satisfy their own greed, because as it says, the love of money is the root of evil, then you, my friend, are sipping poison. You probably should mix it with a little Kool-Aid. If you see somebody saying that this is a tithe offering, you have to ask them, where are the children of Israel? And to what cause is this money and this offering going to? And could you please show me the instruction as to what you are doing? If you're sitting there and you're seeing floor after floor being added in your place of worship, gold carpets and things with wings hanging from off the ceiling and all sorts of porcelain and all that, but you don't see any Levites, in today's time, you don't see any Israelites, then what are you doing? And what is that? Don't call it tithing, because it's not tithing. It's not tithing. It's not tithing. These are things that my people do to sip on a nice hot day with ice and poison. These are the things my people do to destroy their soul. And interestingly, you see, what happens is because the poisoning is slow, right? It's slow. It almost seems like you're not being poisoned. But when enough poison has been accumulated at the right time, and the body starts to shut down, and then you die, then you look back and say, shoot, I've been poisoned. And you have poisoned yourself. Don't ask me. We just read it. Matthew 27, please, if you don't mind. Please smash. Like, comment. Please comment. As it was said prior, I believe Elder Andel had said it, the way that the algorithm works for YouTube, the more comments, the more activity, the more likes and shares and all that, the more the YouTube algorithm looks at it and says, hey, this looks like something of importance. We need to get this particular video out to more people. And it starts showing up in spotlights and suggestions to different people. And if you believe that this message and any of our messages need to be seen by others, like, share, comment, and smash the internet. Where should we go? Let us go to Matthew 27. And we'll hop somewhere around 45, verse 45. The things my people do in the many different ways that they induce self-poisoning is miraculous. And, you know, I wish they would see what they're doing, because if they did, they would stop immediately. But there are many, many, many different ways. I could only go through a few today. But I hope that we get the point. And if you're getting the point, do a thumbs up, excuse me, a 7, or a fire, whichever one you want. Guys, let me know when I can proceed after some 7s and fires. Let me know when I can proceed. 7s and fires. Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. So Matthew 27, we said we're going to go to verse 45. Now from the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. I tried my best with that. And this is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, this man calleth for Elias. So, let me jump back, verse 47. So, he's on the cross. He's on the cross. And he's up there. It's painful, because the cross is crucifixion, and it's doing what it's doing. And as a man, he feels the pain like a man should, and he cries out. And there are people of intelligence around. You see, it's interesting how those of the other nations, especially during that time, perhaps even this time, they were intelligent and they had the wisdom to know what it is that we do and what is the detriment of us. It's very interesting. For some reason, they remember, but we forget. It's a phenomenon, but it's real nonetheless. 47. Some of them that stood there, when they heard him saying that on the cross, said, this man calleth for Elias. This man calleth for Elias? Elias is dead. What would make them think he's crying for Elias? Why not just say, oh, well, he's hurting. He's hurting, man. He's in pain. Of course he's going to say. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say he's hurting. They said quickly. Look, he might be doing something that, hold on. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, let be. Let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. So there's a man on the cross, and he's in pain, and he's crying, and he says something, and the people don't say, he's just in pain. They say, no, quick. He might be calling somebody, and they were specific. They said, he might be calling Elias. And they said, let's not tape his mouth. Let's not tell him to keep quiet. Quick, get some vinegar. Sponge it, squeeze it in his mouth, and that should quell the situation. It's very similar to what we read about with Antiochus. As Antiochus knew, here's how we kill their spirituality. Bang, bang. We take the pig and we put the blood on their altar. That deads the situation. Ain't nobody coming to help. This is what they do. The pig swine is going to nullify whatever it is that's happening there. These guys said, get some vinegar, squeeze it in his mouth, close his mouth, and if he's calling Elias, Elias is not coming. You see, I'm in the New Testament, or the Second Testament as we like to call it, and those of you who don't read the Old or look at the Old as old and forgotten, this would not make any sense to you. This would mean nothing. There would be all sorts of different things on Google that says why they gave him vinegar. Because wine, he didn't like wine, or he had an allergic reaction to wine when he was a little kid. He didn't ate grapes or something. They have all sorts of different things. The reason being, as you heard eloquently from the lesson last night, because once anybody that is not of the Israelite nation partakes and tries to read of this book and teach of it, they've deviated from religion, and now they've gone into philosophy. They've gone into philosophy. Their own thoughts of whatever they think, whatever magic they cook up, whatever it may be. And those of you that would follow and listen to them and allow them to take the lead, you know what they're doing to you. I don't have to say it, but I am going to say it. They've asked you, hey, you look thirsty, you need a drink? And you said, yeah. And they went like this. And they dropped a little poison, and they gave it to you. And then you say, can I get some ice with that, please? So, I guess we should figure out what this is saying, right? Why the vinegar? Should we figure out why the vinegar? Let's go. Guess where we're going? To Leviticus. Leviticus 10. Yes, within the books of Moses, yes, where we would receive what is called the law. So Leviticus chapter 10, and let's go down to 8. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, check this out. Do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when ye go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. And that they may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean, and that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord had spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. So let me explain. You see, in our culture and within our nation, from our God, he instructed Moses that in that holy atmosphere, let's say that, wine and strong drink and liquor and all that should not be part of it. Because I need you, one, to be sober so you may teach the children of Israel the things that you must. But two, if we have these things, then we're not separated from clean and holy and unholy. When you go to a feast, as Noah, right? Noah was drunk after the feast, and he was drunk because he drank. There was wine at the feast, as you read within the scriptures. There was wine. Not non-alcoholic wine. That's not wine. That's a great popsicle. There was wine at the feast with high level content of alcohol. High. There was different rums and whiskeys and bourbons and things of that nature. They were there. And people's cabinets at home, they had these things that they drank. They toasted one another. However, come a time where a holy environment is needed, they don't drink that. Because we have to separate clean from unclean and holy from unholy. In the temple, where it is always holy, he says, don't drink within there. There's drink offerings. Right? I don't want to say this name because I don't want to misconstrue, but I got to say it. What they call a libation. They call it a libation. Right? There's alcohol offerings, wine offering, but they're not drinking it. So when they saw Jesus up there and he's saying something, they're saying, wait a minute, he may be calling for help. Let's quiet him. How? Well, the law does say we throw some alcohol in there, then it will perhaps disrupt anything holy that could happen. So they went and they got the vinegar. Right? And there's another scripture, I'm not going to read it, it's in Numbers 6, where it says, don't even touch the grape, the seed of the grape, the vine of the grape, don't touch it. When it requires in this temple or things of a holy atmosphere, don't even consume the seed of the grape. So he grabs the sponge and he soaks his mouth, and hopefully nothing will happen. They did that because of knowledge of the law. And that's in Matthew, and you would find the law in Leviticus. So you go to a Catholic gathering, and thank God I had never been to one of those as a child. Some of my closest friends, I feel for them, and I say no names, but I feel for them, for they did go through these things. And they went up, and the man has on a cloak. He has on a Gandalf cloak. And you little black boy, you stand up, and you go like this, and you open your mouth, and he takes his hand, and he pushes a little piece of wafer or cracker or whatever it is in your mouth and closes it and does some, right? And he takes a cup of wine, right? And they pray, he give you the wine, and you sip it. And interestingly enough, what they call their altar. It's right on their altar. It's right there. They do all this. Again, why do they do these things? Why are they so opposite? Why is it so completely against what is written? Why? And why do they write it into an official ceremony? You know, if it was just a little one-off thing that somebody did and you slapped them on the hand and said that was an error, that's one thing. But they write it into canon, I think it's called, right? They write it into canon. And it's ceremony. And it has timing and pace and stepping and who lines up where. And all these things that are against what we just read, it's in a ceremony and they give it to you. Do you wonder why they give it to you? And more importantly, with your own eyes, all these different poisons that they give my people and others, do you see my people prospering? Do you see the good works, the goodly benefits of these poisons? Do you see us excelling? You know, do you see reason for cause of repeat? You know what? It was so good when you did this that I must come back once again so we could do it another time. When I look and I see my people, I see what's happening. You see what's, we don't have to hit that. We don't have to hit, we know what's happening. But my people line up for their souls to be poisoned. Well, we're running out of time here. All right, let's do, I guess, one quick one. We choose one or the other. Let's choose Numbers 19. Okay, so Numbers 19. This one is where I could end off. This one is so obvious, but hidden in plain sight. You know, it's one of those things. It's been done for so long that my people, who are the people of this book, the Israelites, now underneath the guise of Christianity and the guise of world philosophies and doing all the things that they do, they just roll into this ceremony, which is of huge detriment. This is, I don't know if there's any poison of poisons, because, death by 1,000 cuts is still death. But this is poison nonetheless. Numbers 19, verse 11 reads, "He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord, and that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him, and he shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him. This is the law when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which hath no covering upon it is unclean. And whosoever toucheth one that is slain," we'll stop there. Well, you know what? Let's go on. "And whosoever toucheth one that is slain with the sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days." So this is where I close my Bible as my time draweth nigh. You see, very simple. Our God, as I had said, within our culture, within his wisdom, has given us these things so that we could separate, because we are peculiar. We are a peculiar people above all nations. We could separate from clean and unclean and holy and unholy. He has said, this is a poison, my people. A poison is mingling with the dead. You see, I've told you that you can't consume certain animals and be clean. Doesn't work with me. I've told you that money, this is how it's supposed to be, or income, this is how it is handled within our culture so that everybody's okay, especially the Levites at that time that were taking care of things for you. This is how it goes. It's not a money-making thing. When it comes to handling the dead, you must separate. For if you touch a dead body, you're unclean 7 days. And when you're unclean 7 days, you're separated from holy. You're unholy. You're separated. You're different. Think about it. The next time that you're sitting down somewhere and you see in the front row a coffin get pushed across the floor up in the front, and you're sitting down in the place where you worship. Think about that. My time has come, and are you poisoning your soul? I'll leave that for you to ponder. I want to take this time to introduce the next teacher. And as some of you have stated online, she's a favorite. She's a favorite. And you would like to see more of her. So we've heard the cry, and today we oblige. Let me introduce Priest Doreen.
Good afternoon, brethren and guests. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Elder Kurt. That was excellent. I enjoyed every bit of it. It was definitely a fresh voice, a fresh perspective, very meatful, and man, you could not be more correct. Are we poisoning our soul? As you asked that question, what's your adventure? I thought to myself, man, the restaurant giving you a contaminated meal with poison, I'm not going to the restaurant. I'm gonna stay home and dine in and cook a good, wholesome, hearty meal, which I know will not be contaminated. And I absolutely, another point that Elder Kurt made that I absolutely agree with, and I actually recall a time, and I was thinking this, so you, at shrines, you go and you pay your tithe, and you actually pay to continually poison your soul. Can you imagine that? You go somewhere, pay your tithe, so they can get rich and famous, while you continually go there to poison your soul. And the time that I'm recalling is in the South, in the USA, in the South, when big catastrophes happen, hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes. And some people who look like me go to seek refuge to these places. And I'm not gonna call any names today. Go to seek refuge at one of these big mega shrines where you pay your tithe to poison your soul, cannot go to this building as a safe haven. That is a philosophy that you have bought into, that you've been eating up, and that you've been drinking, and you've been sucking in that poison for years. And all we do as the children of Jacob is continually build it up, fill it by the millions. When you watch it on Sunday morning, they pan to the child of Jacob, and you're in there proud and happy. I have to say this. Here at Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, as Elder Freddie always says, the leadership does not get paid. The very founder, Elder Shadrach, does not get paid. We simply do our job to teach the truth. So, are you poisoning your soul? A very serious question. A lot of times, when we think about this, it's very outward. You know, we look at the people on the outside, where you were before you came into Israel, right? And what you're eating, what you're consuming, as Elder Kurt said, the holy and unholy, clean and unclean, down to your very dietary law. You just don't understand. Doing things that are against your soul. And we're out there. And a lot of times when we're out there, we're doing a lot of things like exercising, building up, trying to get the muscles look right, you know? Yeah, big muscles like Priest Tyrone. Trying to build up. But nobody thinks about the health of their soul. As my elder Shadrach told me, it is complete suicide, spiritual suicide, as a matter of fact. Let's turn to Luke chapter 16. And I'm going here because Elder Kurt mentioned, you know, the First Testament and the Second. Yes, here at Israelite Nation, we, from chapter to chapter, from beginning to end, Genesis to Revelation, we follow it through or through. This is our holy manual, our instruction manual. This is what we use to guide our Israelite life. And if you're reading either testament, you'll know that they correlate, it's cohesive, and it does not contradict. Now, I'm going to Luke chapter 16, and I'm not going to read it. And I urge you, if this is your first time joining us, to please read it from the very first verse to the end. But this is a very famous part of our history when the Christ is talking about the beggar Lazarus and the rich man, right? We all know this story. You know, both Israelites, you know, have to make that point. And the rich man every day goes out and he's dressed in his fine apparel. He looks great and he passed the beggar by. A rich Israelite passes by the beggar Lazarus, the poor Israelite, right? All kinds of people in the nation. You can have smart, you can have dumb, you can have rich and poor, you can have fat and skinny, all kinds of variations of people in our Israelite community. But this particular rich man did not do anything to help his brethren, Lazarus. So when it came down to it, and we'll go right to it, I'll just go to verse, let's go to verse 23. We'll go through it quickly. Actually, let's go to verse 22. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. All right, they were both once living. They've passed. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. So the rich man in hell lifts up his eyes. He's tormented. Something's happening. There's no peace within him. And sees his father Abraham afar off. And when he sees Abraham, there beside him was that beggar, that poor man Lazarus. And not only does he see Lazarus, but he's in the bosom of Abraham. We're talking about Abraham because Abraham is the father of the Israelites from the First Testament. And if you only read about the later part of our history, then you're not going to have any understanding of why Abraham is mentioned here or how important he is to the Israelites. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. I'm tormented. Send me some peace my way, and if you can, just even send Lazarus to give me this peace. And Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. The roles have switched. The comfort is reversed. And beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which have passed from thence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. There is a great gulf fixed. So the rich man can see Lazarus and Abraham, and they can see the rich man being tormented, and the rich man, seeing them comfortable, cannot go where they are. There is a great gulf fixed between them. And Abraham says, remember how it was when you were living. You didn't help him out, so why should he now help you out? Then the rich man says in verse 27, then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. Then just, Father, just send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Please, I'm asking, just let me go. Let him go to warn my people. Warn them that they don't come where I am, because this place is not easy. And Abraham saith unto him, rich man, you know what? They have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. I'm telling you something right now. If one came from the dead to you, I'm sure you're going to run, and run fast. The simple answer was, they have Moses and the prophets. And he said unto them, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded through one that rose from the dead. So even if they have their instruction manual and they do not follow, it doesn't matter if someone from this side goes to them. They're not going to listen. The point that I'm making here again is that here we are, later in our history, in the Second Testament, and the rich man is referring to Abraham, and Abraham is referring to Moses and the prophets. It's our history. It's our history book. There is no difference between the First Testament and the Second. Let's go to Luke chapter 15. Luke chapter 15. All right. Luke chapter 15. And we'll start at verse 11. And he said, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided them his living. So, okay, already, right here, a father and his 2 sons. An Israelite father with his 2 Israelite sons. And the younger son not the eldest, but the youngest, says to his father, "You know what, Dad? Can you just give me what's my possessions? I see all that you have, all this good and this wealth. But give me my portion. Give me what belongeth to me." You know, it makes me wonder why the younger is even saying this to his father. You know, in their Israelite culture, we read that the inheritance always falls upon the firstborn. And then furthermore, the younger brother has the audacity to ask his father this question, and his father is yet while alive. Usually when you think about receiving an inheritance, it's after your parents have passed away. They leave a will or something, and you know how that goes. But the audacity of this young man to ask for his father's portion starts to tell you about the character of this person. He says, "Give me what's mine and let me go my way." So the father, being a good father, a good parent, you know, what does he do? He listens. He listens. And he divided unto them his living. So he gave the portions to his sons. And verse 13 reads, "And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country." So not many days after. This sounds very premeditated. The younger son had a plan. You know, he's seen his father's wealth. This reminds me of a lot of times when, when a child grows up and they get to 18 years old or 17 or whatever, and they start doing their college applications. All the time, if you live in New York, you want to go to college in California. You're trying to get as far away as possible from your parents. Why is that? Why do we always do that? The younger son here wants to run away from home, take his money and run fast. You want to go where you can't be seen. You want to go and be your own person, your own big man or your own big woman, and not be accountable to anyone. So the young man, again, few days, not long after, takes his portions, gathered his little sack together, and took his journey to a far country. And when he went there, wasted his substance with riotous living. Man. So he goes to a far country. Excuse me. Takes his wealth and lives like a king, like a showboat. Like, I'm doing good. And when you're doing good and you're spending money, man, the amount of friends that come your way to help you spend that wealth, it's the best time of your life. You're having a good time. No thoughts, no nothing, just having a good old life. 14 reads, "And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want." See, the thing with our people, and I have to say this because, again, the topic is, are you poisoning your soul? And a lot of times we're looking out there and saying, what do you need to do to get back, to have your soul be healthy? Sometimes you can be in a very good place, or you can be at home already and still continue to poison your soul. So he spent all his money, and without any thought, didn't plan for a rainy day, didn't put away a little savings. He was having a good old time. A catastrophe happens. A famine came into the land. Geez, I don't know why COVID-19 comes into my mind, but it's not a famine. You know, when the COVID-19 first broke out, you see what happened, how everyone, it just chaos erupted? I could imagine when a famine comes into the land, what type of chaos does that look like? No food, like, where are you gonna go get food? You're killed, what are you doing? And you didn't put anything away for the rainy day? To just, you know, budget and take a little to go buy just our rations, you know, bread and water? So because he spent it all, and there was a famine, he began to be in want, began to get hungry. So what does he do? Verse 15, and he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. So you run away off to a far country. You lost everything. You began to be in want. Where were all those friends that you had helping you spend your millions and your big wealth? Where are they now? You had to find yourself and join yourself to someone who is not like you, but from this other country. And this person, this citizen, not knowing your customs or your culture or anything that you do, sends him into the fields to feed swine. And Elder Kurt just spoke about swine. Swine, the abominable animal. You're finding yourself in the field with pigs. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. Man, can you imagine how hungry you have to be to think about, man, it would please me, I might as well just eat this swine food. How hungry you have to be. And because you did not plan ahead and because you wanted to be your own big person, there was no help for you. There was no help. He didn't manage his inheritance properly at all. And verse 17 reads, and when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? The scriptures don't say how long this young man spent in the field with swine, right? And if I know my people, and I know them well, we're very stubborn and stiff-necked people. I also know when we're at our lowest and when we're suffering is the time that we now start to think about the things that make sense. Like, wait a minute. I was a somebody before all of this. How could I have been so ungrateful? How did I allow myself to end up here? This is what he began to do within himself. How, the key word is, how did I allow myself to end up here? When he wanted his portions, his father didn't stop or get in the way. He gave it to him. A lot like, sometimes I always laugh when I speak with brethren and we talk about, you know, when you pray and you pray to our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob in heaven, a lot of times when we pray, we got to be careful for what we pray for. Be very detailed and specific, because sometimes you'll pray, I want this, I need this, I gotta have this, oh my gosh, I need this, I want this, I have this. Man, sometimes you even fast and do the most to get the desired thing that you want. And then your father says, this is not my will or plan for you. I sent you into the land of Canaan, the land of milk and honey, to do all these things, and you went and did other things. That wasn't my plan for you. You know what? When you were in the wilderness and thought that you were hungry, what shall we eat? What shall we eat? And your father says, fine, I'll give them quail. This wasn't my plan for you. Why are you worried? And you pray for the thing that it wasn't planned for you, and it ends up being your own demise. It becomes your demise. But like any good father, he's always going to try to comfort you and say, okay, fine, this is what you want, have this. But you always learn the lesson either hopefully earlier rather than later. It took us a very long time, and we suffered and suffered dearly. In fact, 400 years for our wrongful desires. So here is, again, the younger brother. He's in the field with the swine, and he bethinks to himself, man. And he starts to think again, the character of this person. How many hired servants? My father has a lot. Hired servants, and they have enough bread to eat and to spare and to give to other people. And I'm choosing here, I'm allowing myself and choosing myself to be here, that I should perish from hunger? But nobody told you to go here. Verse 18, you know what? I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. So not only did this younger brother bethink to himself, but he humbled himself enough to say, you know what? I'm not worthy. I wasn't worthy of this. I'm going to go back to my father and ask him to forgive me and to just allow me to come back home and let him know that I have sinned. Not only have I sinned against you, Dad, but I've also sinned against to my Father in heaven. Because I'm not, and it also say, I'm not worthy to be called your son, but just make me as one of your servants. Please, just let me back in any which way. I'm willing even just to be like one of the servants. So before, where you had your rightful place, here you are now coming back to just be like a servant. But even being just like a servant in your father's house is better than being a stranger in a far-off country. And verse 20, and he arose and came to his father, but when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. So as he's returning home, father looks out into the distance and says, oh my gosh, there's my son. My son has come back home to me. He's come back home. Runs to greet and meet him, and falls upon his neck and gives him a kiss. It's no different from our Father in heaven that would rejoice if we were just to come back home to him. And verse 21 reads, and the son said unto him, Father, and now he's here he is now, he's confessing, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. He's repenting of his sin. He's genuine, he's sincere. He comes earnest to his father's house and says, I've done wrong, man. I'm not even worthy to be called your son. And verse 22 says, but the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. Excuse me. And shoes on his feet. Can you imagine Would you behave this way if you're a parent of a child? Would you receive your son in this manner? The father says, okay, don't worry, son. Don't worry about that. Calls his servants, get me the best of the best, my best robe, whatever it is, and the best shoes, and even a ring, and give it, because this is my son. This is my child. He has come back home to his rightful place. It's no different than if you're lost out there or you've been home and went out, that when you should come home to your father, that our compassionate and merciful God, who we have always continually been the breacher of the covenant, will say, okay, if you are sincere enough, our Father says, okay, I will forgive you and receive you back into his arms and into his family. And not only does the father say, bring the best robe and the best shoes and put a ring on his finger, he says, bring hither the fattest calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. And so they have a great big feast, because my son has returned home to me. He longeth for his son to return home to him. Like the God of Israel longeth for you to come back home to him. Verse 25 reads, here goes us, my people. Now his elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. So the older brother is, hey, what's going on? Why do I hear music and dancing? What's going on back at the house? And he called to one of the servants and asked what these things meant. Hey, sir, hey, what's going on? What's going on up there? And he said unto him, haven't you heard? Thy brother is come. Your brother has come back home. And thy father has killed the fattest calf, and because he has received him safe and sound. You didn't hear your brother's back? Man, your dad is making a big feast. He found the fattest goat calf. And we're going to eat and drink and have a good time because he came back safe. We didn't know where he was. We don't know what he was doing God knows what. But he's back home, safe with us. He's back with the family. He's back with the family. And when the brother heard it, the eldest brother, and he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. So the oldest brother hears what's going on and got angry. Why? Why would the older brother be angry that his younger brother has returned home? So he went so angry, so bottled up with anger, he couldn't even go in the house to feast. That the father had to go meet him. A father is always meeting you in the middle, even compromising sometimes, to meet you halfway. Goes out to his son and says, and he answering said to his father, lo, come on, Dad, these many years did I serve you. I've been with you for all these years, and I have neither transgressed. I haven't done anything wrong at any time. Thy commandments, I have not transgressed. I don't sin. I didn't do anything to the commandments. I enjoyed who I am as an Israelite, my culture, my holy days, laws, everything. And yet thou never gavest me a kid. Okay? He's not saying, Father, give me a child, just to be clear for a lot of you first-timers. We're talking about a baby goat. That's why we don't call our children here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministry kids, because kids are baby goats. I've been here with you all this time, and you never made a feast for me with a baby goat. You never did a lot of things to celebrate how great I've been, that I might make merry with my friends, call my friends, and celebrate me. But as soon as this thy son was come, which has devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed for him the fattest calf. This just, and this, I mean, it's real, it's true, right? When you have your brothers and your sisters, I did this, and this person did that, and they never did, and you give them everything, and I don't get anything. All you need to do is just stay the course. Because like we read with the rich man and Lazarus, you don't know when in life your rewards cometh. But you have to maintain keeping your soul healthy. So he was out there and doing all this kind of stuff, and as soon as he comes, there you go, giving him a feast. And the father says, he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and you know all that I have is thine, is yours. Why be angry? Why make the small thing a big matter? Right? The character of our people, you know? Our Father constantly has to remind you, don't worry about this small thing. This is small stuff. Don't sweat this. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost, and is found. He was dead, and is alive again, was lost, and is now found. We've always been in the good house of our Father. It is us that constantly wants to leave and go and be at our neighbor's house. And sometimes travel afar off to some unknown island and in a culture that we don't know and speaking a language we don't know, when all you had to do was stay home with Dad, speak English, and live your Israelite culture. If you're at home, we have to feed the soul. The younger brother was at home. He didn't understand. We feed our soul, living our daily lives as Israelites, eating up this every word and verse in Scripture, making it our reality, our culture, so that we can understand the importance as well as its value, so that we don't take our inheritance and run off and not manage it. It says in Proverbs 20:21, and we'll go there, I'll go there real quick. I love Proverbs for all its wisdom. Verse 20 and 21. An inheritance may be gotten hastily at the beginning, but the end thereof shall not be blessed. If your whole goal is just to be here to get something, you know this is owed to me, this is rightfully mine, and you don't apply wisdom of how to pass this inheritance down and how not to waste it and how to let it live for generations to generations, it will not be blessed. It just can't be. Our people have been poisoning our souls for years. We look to the wrong things. We think like the outside. And what we need to do is start thinking like how our Father wants us to be. We look to the wrong places. When Samuel mourned, he said he mourned because the people wanted a king. We're always looking. Our new king is the celebrities. It's presidents. We look every day, what is Trump saying? You know, we look to what are the celebrities doing? People look to them now for guidance and for them to tell us how to be and how to act. The placement is wrong. You cannot look to these people. I mean, look at recently, look at what a child of Jacob, Kanye West. Look what's happening. A child of Jacob. For the world to see, breaking down. It's spiritual suicide. wanting to do this and wanting to do that, and is breaking down in front of the world. It's humiliating. It doesn't matter how much fame you have or how much fortune you have. If your soul is not being taken care of, you will continually be the byword and the proverb, a shaking of the head. Let's turn to 1 Samuel chapter 16. Excuse me. Oh, I guess I should add, if you like what you're hearing and what you're seeing today, please like, share, comment, smash the internet, like Elder Michael would say, and Elder Kurt says to headbutt your computer. Donate even, put up some sevens, put up some fire symbols. This is definitely the place to be, to come and feed your soul healthy, keep it healthy, and not poison it. And if it's your first time, I urge you to please reach out. Call us, text us, email us, and one of us will get in touch with you. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. There's so much in this first verse here. The fact that Samuel understands that Saul now is rejected from being king over Israel. He's mourning for him. Mourning for his brethren Saul, which in the first place, Saul, we were never supposed to have a king to begin with. And here is Samuel mourning for him. It's insulting. He says, come on, Samuel, how long are you going to sulk over this guy, man? I told you, he can't be king over Israel anymore. Now just get yourself up. Put some oil in your horn and go where I tell you to go. I'm going to tell you to go to Jesse, the Bethlehemite, an Israelite, because among his sons I have found me a new king. Because remember, Saul was that king, that guy that had the stature, the height, what we at that time thought what a king should look like, right? And Samuel said, How can I go? How can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. It's funny because here is Samuel, a prophet of God, is saying to God, what? You're asking me to go where? After what I just did? If Saul finds out that I'm here and he spots me, you know what he'll do to me? He'll kill me. I don't want to die. And the Lord said, okay. Here's what we're going to do. Take a heifer, some people say heifer, tomato, with thee and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. So God, the initial plan is, go to Jesse's house so I can show you who my king is among his sons. And says, I'm going to tell you a plan. We're going to devise a plan. I know you fear for your life. And tell this lie, if you want, or tell this plan that you're going to go do a sacrifice. God says to do, is God devising a plan with Samuel to go and do this? To get to his ultimate goal? I thought this was a God of love. Love everybody. Just forgive Saul. Love everybody. Do whatever you want. I will keep you. I will come back to you. Do whatever you want. No. The God of Israel said, get rid of him. I don't want him. I see you, Samuel, my prophet, that you're mourning over him, but I don't want him. I don't care. He's done away with. And Samuel, a prophet, is afraid, who is talking to the ultimate, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of heaven and earth, is afraid to go. You know, sometimes you talk to people and they say, I'm a prophet, or I see this, and they act all big and bold. But here is Samuel, afraid to go for his life. He fears that his life might be killed. So the Lord says, I'll read it again. And the Lord said, take an heifer with thee and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably? Now why would here was Samuel afraid to go back to Bethlehem, and when he does go, why do the elders of the town, oh my gosh, it's Samuel. What is he doing here? Oh my goodness. Samuel, is everything okay? Should I get you something? Did I do anything? Why are you here? Because if you remember, it was Samuel, when the instruction was given to Saul with the Amalekites to kill everything in sight and to destroy the king and to kill the king, that Saul didn't do it. So when Saul brought back the good spoil and even saved the king of the Amalekites alive, it displeased Samuel. And what did he do to that king of the Amalekites? He killed him. But not only did he kill him, he cut him up into pieces. Samuel was a prophet of God and a warrior. So much he said, because I love it. I have to read it. In 1 Samuel 15:33, and Samuel said, as thy sword has made women childless, because you, the Amalekites, did this to my people. He's not just going to kill the king, a guy, because just for killing's sake. No, you did this injustice against my family. You have made women in my family childless among women. And because of that, and Samuel hewed Haggai in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal, so that he now can be make his mother childless. And that's when, after he did that, he ran. So the elders trembled when they seen him come to town. What are you doing here? Where was I? Verse 6. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab and said, okay, see Jesse's sons. Okay, it must be him. He looks to be like a king to me. Probably got the height, probably got the muscles. That must be who the God of Israel wants. Maybe that's the one I have to anoint. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. Hey, Samuel, I know who you're looking at. I know who's caught your eye. But it's not him. That's not the one. That's not the one I'm choosing. And I'm going to tell you this as well, Samuel. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Like I was saying before, it doesn't matter what your physical self is looking like. What are you doing to your soul? How are you keeping your soul healthy? Because the God of Israel looks on the inward parts of our heart. To not be like what Samuel was thinking with Eliab and look to people and to celebrities and say, yeah, this is the guide, this is who we should follow, without checking out its root. And Elder Kurt spoke of the root. Without checking out the root of what is going on. You know, what is the root of that shrine? What is the root of the heart of that man? Because most times when you're following the lie, it will eventually crumble. It will eventually crumble right before your eyes. And a lot of times, when we look on the outward part and we're doing things for the outside and the flesh, most of the times, all you're doing is committing spiritual suicide. Let's go to Deuteronomy 7. You know, so as you are in the house and you're keeping yourself, feeding your soul, what are those things that keep your soul healthy? Yes, I can sit here and say keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Of course, for sure. That's definitely a requirement, you know. But our people, we have been through so much. Oh, okay. Elder Kurt read this earlier, but I'll read it again. We have been through so much as a people. I said earlier, 400 years. What comes with that in today's time? What comes with coming back home to your father and keeping yourself holy, unholy, clean, and unclean? But what else has been done to our people for the past 400 years? The psychological things. What do we do to our whole? We, as a people, for the past 400 years have been given these curses and the bondage. Everyone speaks about the bondage, but the curses that was placed upon us, the curses that have oppressed our spirit and soul for so many years, and we have continually recycled it, passed it down. Nappy hair, good hair, light skin, fair skin. I got Indian in my family. We have passed this down from generation to generation to generation. But what do we do to stop that cycle? That is part of taking care of your soul. What are we doing? Because nobody that I know, a child of Jacob, came out of the 400 years healthy. We're all broken. Sometimes our homes are broken. Even down to our homes are broken. There is a void in our family. What do we do to self-improve? What do we do to self-educate, to self-edify? What are we taking the necessary steps to grow and to progress, so much so that you can get the confidence to go out and say, hey, I'm an Israelite, because we were all sick. I'm an Israelite. So that when you're challenged, you can firmly root your feet and say, I'm an Israelite, and this is my foundation. So that unlike children of Jacob, like Nick Cannon, gosh, I'm so annoyed with that. Trying to stand up for your people, and in less than 24 hours, you get shot down, big and bold and mighty. It was the most, again, a byword and a proverb of shaking of the head of our people. Big, mighty, and bold, our people, this, and people came into our land, and this, and this, and that. And in less than 24, 48 hours, you have to apologize for what you're saying. Broken. Broken because we have allowed our infrastructure to be so reliant on our oppressors. We didn't take the time and the care needed to build self up and to set up shop within our community. So that when you are now ready to tell people, this is my culture and this is my God, that you can say it firmly and not be in fear of losing your livelihood. And because of that, you return back to Massa's house because you want to be fed. You want to be fed and live like the rich man that ended up in torment? Or would you rather stand up for the God of Israel and be a beggar to end up in the bosom of Abraham? It's time, guys. My people, we allowed everyone to come into our home, or we've gone into their homes and taken up a comfortable seat. It's time for us to stop these generational curses. It's time, the 400 years of bondage. We went to Virginia last year. We commemorated when the slaves arrived into the Western world. I'm not even going to say the shores of Virginia, into the Western world, because the prophecy said into a new Egypt. And here we are, a year later now. It's about time, man, that we stop the cycle and change. And we cannot look to the oppressor for a handout, especially if we're not doing the job that it takes to build at home. Because just like the younger brother who received the inheritance, you saw what happened when he took his inheritance. He went out into a far country, had no idea what to do with it. No idea, none. Didn't take the time to educate, to think, hey, maybe I can parcel off this here, invest here, do this there, save some for a rainy day, save some for my children's children. Didn't do his due diligence to prepare for his future. Ended up wasting it all. We have been wasting it all for far too long. It is time we build our own amongst each other, empower each other, tell each other that we are together, united, to come together to commemorate who we are as a people, even in the month of August. To say we will no longer be what the outside people look upon us and say, look at that person, look at them, crabs in a barrel. And it's up to us, not anybody else. It is up to us. And to not get onto this comment, into this YouTube, and all you do is your hate comments or your critical comments. I used to hear a thing, constructive criticism. All our people do now is go on the internet and, oh, look at, she's wearing pants. Oh, look, she's teaching. Oh, he can't be saying that. That's not the truth. And nitpick at the verses and the words and the Hebrew and the, seriously. You just came out of Christianity 2 days ago. Don't tell me how to be an Israelite. You just got here. We've been doing this for almost 40 years. Where have you been? You were in diapers. Sit down, humble yourself, be obedient, and listen like our professor said, and learn with humility. I used to hear in kindergarten, if you don't have nothing nice to say, keep it to yourself. Say nothing at all. But if you're here to learn and to build your soul and to come together as a people, and say, let's grow, let's progress, let's go back home to our God, then the doors of the Israelite nation, Worldwide Ministries, is open to you, the quality Israelite. We don't want the fake. We don't want the half-steppers. We want the ones that value their inheritance and want to be back in their Father's house in their rightful place. So I tell you today, I urge you, pick up the phone, text, like, comment positively, help to grow, not to destroy, help to build, help to get our people back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and smash the internet button if you like what you're hearing. Because this is what we do at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. This is what our founder, Elder Shadrach, had set up years and years and years ago. You were nowhere to be found. This is the foundation that he led for the Supreme Council, who is carrying on that duty and that charge. This is what the leadership worldwide, this is what my brethren have been doing for years and years. Come, take a seat, and learn and humble yourself. We are looking for the quality Israelite that wants to build and not destroy. This is the place to be every Friday night, 7:30, and Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to end up in the place like Lazarus in Abraham's bosom, I urge you again, text, like, comment, email, phone, whatever. You can't get on a plane and come here now because it's COVID-19. But when the doors do reopen, I urge you to book that first flight because none of us get paid to do this. We do this simply to serve our God and to glorify his name. And with that, I say peace.
Days when I look up into the sky, asking my Father, why, oh why? Why would you use me? Why would you choose me? Can I truly serve thee? Sometimes when I feel like giving up, I gotta get back on this road. Nobody said it would be cold. Gotta stay humble, I gotta stay strong. Gotta keep moving, keep pressing on. Keep on moving, keep on moving. One foot in front of the other. No one said this road will be easy, get to the promised land. Keep on moving, keep on moving. One foot in front of the other. No one said this road will be easy, get to the promised land. To the promised land, get to the promised land. To the promised land, get to the promised land. To the promised land, get to the promised land. To the promised land. I know what I should do. I should stay faithful to you. I commune with all my heart and I go back to the start. Back to my journey, back to my road, back to this path. And all that I know, back to my purpose, back to my home, back to my Father, back to my